Ever feel like the universe is whispering secrets and we're just missing the language? Kind of how this deep dive feels, honestly. Like we're
Yeah.
cracking the code on how 10, count 'em, 10 different world religions answered the big one. What asked God? God.
A question that is echoed through, well, pretty much all of human history. And you might be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
These diverse cultures, separated by like everything, time, geography, they found ways to understand the divine. Some totally unique, some you'll be like, wait, they thought that too.
Right. And you sent over excerpts from each. Gotta be honest, at first I was a bit intimidated, like, whoa, am I even qualified to unpack all this? But then I dove in and wow, it's like a crash course in global spirituality.
Like any good crash course, we'll hit those highlights. But we're going deep, too, on the insights that really, make you think.
Exactly. Not just checking boxes here. This is the good stuff. So strap in, everyone, because we're starting with a name you might not recognize. Melchizedek.
Melchizedek. Yeah, he's like the unexpected influencer of world religion.
Okay, tell me more.
So his teachings, right, about one God, a single force behind everything, they rippled out, influenced tons of different faiths. Like discovering your favorite band was like deeply inspired by some hidden gem from like way back when.
Okay, now that's a musical deep cut I can get behind. So where do we find this Melchizedek fella?
First up in the source material is cynicism.
Cynicism. See, now I know what you're thinking. Isn't that like being grumpy about everything?
Understandable. It's easy to associate it with that modern definition. But cynicism, like
Yeah.
in its original form, it's a whole philosophy,
Yeah.
emphasizes virtue, living in sync with nature. And central to all that, a very powerful concept of God.
Right. And reading this, what struck me was I don't know how else to put it, the pure goodness just radiating from these excerpts. God as the ultimate source of everything positive, everything life-giving.
There's no room for doubt in these passages. God is the peace giver, a faithful protector offering salvation to all who serve him. It's beautiful, pure divine benevolence.
It really is. It's like if you could just strip away all the noise, right?
Yeah.
All the negativity, you'd find this core of pure, radiant goodness. And that's God. Have you ever felt that? Like deep down, there's this wellspring of love and support, even when things are tough.
Oh, absolutely. It's a very, very human experience to sense there's something greater than ourselves, holding it all together. And cynicism emphasizes both. God's immensity, he's the perfected circle of eternity, immortal and infinite, but also his intimate involvement in our lives.
Infinite A&D personal. See, that's where my brain starts to short circuit a little bit, I gotta be honest. Like trying to picture the entire universe fitting inside a grain of sand. How can something be both vast A&D present in every single detail?
It's a paradox at the heart of, well, many religions grapple with it. It speaks to the limits, really, of what we can understand when we're talking about the divine. But even though we may never fully grasp that immensity, cynicism reminds us he's still knowable through our hearts, through living a life guided by his wisdom.
So less about trying to fit the ocean in a teacup and more about feeling a single drop of water and understanding, like, that's the essence of the whole thing. I dig it. Okay, what's next on our spiritual survey here?
Next up is a faith many are familiar with, Judaism.
Okay.
And we encounter a concept we've touched on, God as the creator, the architect of the universe, everything in it.
Right. And that is a powerful image. But what really got me was this passage. God knows the number of stars and calls each by name. That's a level of personal attention I haven't even gotten from my barista.
It's a beautiful illustration, though, isn't it? Of God's intimate knowledge of creation. Every star, every planet, every grain of sand right here on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did he create them, he knows them individually.
Yeah.
Intimately.
Makes you feel pretty seen, Like maybe we're not just random specks in the cosmic void. There's a purpose, a plan, even if we don't always get it. Okay, now buckle up, because we're heading to a completely different part of the world, a whole new perspective. Buddhism.
I think when most people think of Buddhism, right?
Yeah.
The first thing that comes to mind, meditation, maybe. Finding that inner peace, not necessarily, a deity in a traditional sense.
Exactly. It's almost like it could be a religion without God.
Yeah.
The focus on personal enlightenment, overcoming suffering, all that. But TT, and this is where it gets really interesting, there are these hints of a higher power kind of woven throughout.
Yeah, exactly. While Buddhism does emphasize that personal responsibility, achieving enlightenment, like you said, these excerpts, though, they definitely point towards something larger than just us, a force that goes beyond, like, our individual existence, you know what I mean?
I do. Like when it talks about the immortal and the idea that by living like righteously, we can tap into this incredible enlightened state. It's like this whole other level of existence that we can aspire to.
Right. It's powerful.
Yeah.
Because our actions then have these like cosmic consequences, not just in this life, but in the grand scheme of things. It suggests that even though, yeah, we experience suffering now, there's a path to liberation, a way to transcend our limitations and connect with something eternal.
It's like, yeah, life is messy. We face challenges for sure. But there's this underlying, I don't know, hope. Hope that we can rise above it all through our actions, our intentions. It's not just about us. It's about aligning ourselves with something bigger.
And that actually brings us to another belief system with this,
Yeah.
like really rich and complex understanding of the divine, Hinduism.
Okay.
Now, Hinduism is often associated with, a multitude of gods and goddesses.
Right. It's like the cosmic guest list is never ending.
Right. But even with all those deities, what really stood out to me in these excerpts was the emphasis on one supreme God, this like ultimate source of everything.
Yeah, and this supreme God, this ultimate reality, it says he even counts the blinks of our eyes. It's like, hey, you're not alone in this grand cosmic dance. I'm with you every step of the way, even the tiniest moments.
I love that. Such a powerful image, right? God's all-encompassing awareness is intimate knowledge of literally every aspect of creation. Nothing is too small, too insignificant for his attention. And honestly, I think that's a very comforting thought for a lot of people, that even amidst the chaos, the uncertainty of life, there's this force that sees us, cares for us, even the smallest details.
Like that feeling of being truly known, truly seen by someone who just loves you unconditionally. Okay, wow. After that dose of cosmic comfort, I think we need to, we're heading over to ancient Persia, Zoroastrianism. And this one, I gotta say, had a different vibe. Very much about that battle between good and evil, light and darkness. Have you ever felt that struggle, like in your own life?
Oh, absolutely. And Zoroastrianism really puts it front and center. It's built upon this fundamental duality,
Right.
that constant interplay, positive and negative forces both within us and in the world all around us. Pretty universal human experience, would you say?
For sure. It's like that inner voice that tells you to hit snooze versus the one yelling at you to get up and chase your dreams. But what really struck me about Zoroastrianism specifically was how it connects our actions to our spiritual progress.
Yes. Personal responsibility is huge in this tradition. Our thoughts, our words, our deeds, they directly impact our spiritual journey, our connection to the divine. It's a call to actively choose good, align ourselves with those forces of light.
Right. It's not just about, like, what you believe up here. It's about how you live your life. Choices you make every single day. I mean, okay, maybe the fate of the universe doesn't depend on me doing my dishes tonight, but there's something kind of empowering about knowing that even small acts of kindness, of choosing that light over darkness, it can have this ripple effect.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaks to the interconnectedness of all things. Our actions, however small they seem, can contribute to a greater good. Now, from this grand cosmic battle of Zoroastrianism, we're turning to a faith that emphasizes a different kind of struggle, the internal one.
All right, next up, ancient India. And get this, a faith that was totally new to me, Pseudoism. Later on, it became known as Jainism. And this one, all about conquering those inner demons. They took self-help to a whole other level.
Self-mastery is like the core of Jainism. Intense self-discipline, a really, really rigorous pursuit of spiritual liberation through conquering, like you said, those negative tendencies within.
And they don't mess around. Anger, pride, greed, it's like all on the hit list, and their idea of heaven, it's not floating around on a cloud. It's about this total inner victory. Like, imagine the most peaceful content version of yourself. That's what they're aiming for.
Powerful stuff. True happiness, fulfillment, it comes from within. Overcoming those negative patterns, attachments that keep us honestly bound to suffering. Ever feel that?
Yeah.
That inner peace when you finally overcome some personal challenge, let go of something that was holding you back.
Totally. Like finally cleaning out that junk drawer you've been avoiding for months. Okay, maybe not on par with spiritual enlightenment, but that sense of lightness, freedom from clutter. I get it. Speaking of feeling lighter, though, our next stop is all about finding the divine in the beauty of, the everyday. Shintoism. I'm already feeling calmer, honestly, just thinking about it. Nature, harmony, respecting the world around us. What's not to love, right?
It's a really beautiful tradition, finding that divine presence in nature and like just the simple elegance of everyday life.
Yeah.
Have you ever just, I don't know, felt that sense of peace, maybe walking in the woods, watching a sunset? Shintoism reminds us those moments. They're filled with spiritual significance.
Oh, yeah. It's like that feeling of, whoa, I'm part of something so much bigger. But Shintoism also emphasizes human virtue too, right? Like Being our best selves is another way to connect with the divine.
Absolutely. It's not just about appreciating that beauty out there. It's about reflecting it back in our actions, our character. And one of the biggest obstacles to that, according to Shintoism, pride.
Right, right. And that's the line kind of stopped me in my tracks. Every hair of pride shuts off saving light. Ouch, someone's not mincing words.
Nope. It's a powerful reminder, though. Humility. It's essential for us to grow spiritually. Pride, it's like this barrier, spiritual blindness almost. Keeps us from seeing the divine spark in ourselves and in everyone else, too.
So less ego tripping, more awe-inspiring. Got it. Okay, deep breaths, everyone, because we're heading into the home stretch of this spiritual journey. And this next one, this one feels like trying to catch lightning in a bottle. Taoism.
Taoism is.
Yeah.
It can be a little elusive, can't it? The emphasis on aligning ourselves with the Tao, the natural order of the universe, this flow of existence that never, ever stops.
Right. Go with the flow, man. But even with all that, acceptance, letting go, the excerpts you picked out, they highlighted God's constant presence, influence, even when we're clueless, totally oblivious.
Yeah, it's like Taoism gets that we might not always be aware of it, but that divine, it's always working, shaping, guiding the universe, even in the smallest details. Remember the quote, "You cannot find the Supreme," it says, "neither can you go to a place where he is not."
It's like trying to outrun your own shadow. Not gonna happen. Okay, that one goes in the mind-blown category for sure. All right, last but definitely not least, we're ending our global tour with a philosophy that emphasizes ethics, social harmony, Confucianism.
Yeah, Confucianism, it's deeply concerned with creating a just and harmonious society, sees the divine as the ultimate source
Yeah.
of order, morality. And we're all connected, right? Part of
Yeah.
this bigger web of relationships. Our actions have consequences. They ripple outward, affect everyone around us.
It's a good reminder, we're not just isolated individuals off doing our own thing. We have this responsibility to each other, to the community, to the world even. But Confucianism also says God gave us this inner moral compass, this ability to know right from wrong.
Right. It's not blind obedience. It's about cultivating that innate sense of goodness, acting in accordance with heaven's order. We've all got the potential for greatness, for virtue, and when we strive for that, we contribute to a better world.
Okay, so after this whirlwind tour, 10 different religions, countless insights, my brain feels a little fried, honestly. Where does that leave us? Where did it leave Ghanid, the guy who compiled all this wisdom in the first place?
It led him to create what he called our religion, drawing on the wisdom of all these traditions, but it really boils down to this understanding God as a loving father. Simple but profound.
After everything we've just talked about, honestly, that's kind of reassuring.
It is. Speaks to that universal longing we all have. Connection, belonging, feeling loved, supported by something beyond ourselves.
And the way to connect with this loving father, according to Ghanid, pretty straightforward. Treat others how you want to be treated. Golden rule, but with, a cosmic upgrade.
Right. It's so simple, but so powerful, you
Right.
know. The path to God isn't about these elaborate rituals or doctrines you have to memorize. It's about living a life guided by love, compassion, empathy, recognizing that divine spark in ourselves and in everyone we meet.
So less about theological debates and more about just being a decent human being. I think I can handle that.
And maybe that's the biggest takeaway from all of this. That search for God, for meaning, for connection. It comes down to how we show up in the world, how we treat each other. We're all in this together, on this wild, incredible journey of discovery and growth.
Man, a mic drop moment right there. I need a minute to process all of this. But you know what? As fried as my brain might feel, I'm also feeling really inspired. It's
Okay.
even if we never get all the answers, just asking these questions, exploring these different perspectives, it makes life richer, more meaningful for sure.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the beauty of faith, of spirituality in general. It's not about having it all figured out. It's about embracing the mystery, the awe, the wonder of it all.
It's that feeling of there's so much I don't know, but I'm open to it, to learning, growing, expanding what I think is possible.
Exactly. It's a lifelong journey. Each step along the way, each question, it brings us closer to a deeper understanding of ourselves, the universe, and, the divine.
So to everyone listening, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, trust me, it's okay. It's okay to not have it all figured out. Just keep asking those questions, keep exploring, keep your mind and your heart open to what's possible. You never know what you might discover. And hey, maybe you'll create your own version of our religion along the way, right?
That's what it's all about, embracing that journey, every twist, every turn, trusting that path, however winding it gets, it's leading us right where we need to be.
Beautifully said. Well, on that note of cosmic encouragement, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. Thank you, as always, for joining us. Been an incredible exploration. Faith, spirituality, and those big questions that connect us all. Until next time, everyone, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into those mysteries out there.